The COVID-19 vaccine rollout in Nigeria was successful as all states got a fair share of the doses for first administration, with effective planning for cold chain storage, distribution and execution of exercise awareness campaign played an important role in minimizing hitches. The National Primary Healthcare Development Agency had recently acknowledged that 96% success rate was recorded in Nigeria during the administration of the first dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine. The second dose of the COVID-19 vaccination has commenced in Borno and many other states on the same cycle. How is the exercise progressing? Considering the peculiar state of insecurity in Borno, how can challenges in the way of the exercise be surmounted, and what efforts are in place to sustain the non-pharmaceutical safety protocols to prevent a resurgence of the COVID-19? This is our focus this afternoon on Panorama from the studios of NTA Maiduguri. I am your uncle, Abubakar Muhammad Musa. President Muhammadu Buhari last Saturday received the second dose of the COVID-19 vaccine, which signals the commencement of the second phase of the vaccination program in Nigeria. President Buhari, after receiving the second jab, says the country is not doing badly in the fight against the coronavirus pandemic. State House correspondent Jide Onifadi reports.
The table is set for a second round of vaccination, which will make Nigerians immune to the COVID-19 pandemic. And again, President Muhammadu Buhari steps forward to take another jab of the vaccine to assure Nigerians of the safety and the commitment of the federal government to protecting the people.
To be informed, we are not doing badly in Nigeria. Relative to even more developed countries. Look at the casualties in India, Brazil, the United States, and so on. So I congratulate you, the medical teams across the society. I think you have been able to handle the situation, and I hope we will be economically disposed to give most of Nigerians the vaccination when it is available.
It's 3 months now since President Muhammadu Buhari and Vice President Yomi Osinbajo collected the first jab of the 4 million COVID-19 vaccines brought into the country. To date, close to 2 million Nigerians have been vaccinated, and the Health Ministry says it is yet to record complaints or casualty after receiving the vaccine.
Nigerians and all of the the institutions that have been set up to ensure that only safe and effective vaccines are provided to Nigerians will make sure that nothing short of that will be done. Mr. President, the Vice President, and notable Nigerians have already taken the vaccines. This is what gives us confidence that these vaccines are safe and effective. We're also going to, as the Presidential Steering Committee, take our second dose in the full glare of the public, again, to engender confidence that these vaccines are safe.
But in other climes, the outbreak of COVID-19 new variants have left thousands dead. And Minister of Health, Osage Hanire, says every loose end is being tightened to protect Nigerians.
We are watching very closely. We are doing genetic sequencing to recognize the variants that are coming to our country, reading also about the variants in other countries, and preparing ourselves. That is the reason we are anxious to continue with vaccination, and also to make it clear that the vaccination alone is not the answer. We need to continue with the non-pharmaceutical interventions and the public health rules that have been laid down by the President in the health regulations that were signed recently. So we need to continue wearing our masks. We need to continue social distancing. Above all, we need to avoid all those mass gatherings that are the cause of the huge explosions that occurred in other countries.
Access to the vaccine is a challenge, especially for African countries. Minister of Health Osage Hanire says efforts have been taken towards ensuring that Nigeria have access to more vaccines and to ensure that every Nigerian is vaccinated against the pandemic, with another batch being expected latest by August this year. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
And still on the coronavirus pandemic, administration of the second dose of COVID-19 vaccination has commenced in Borno State with vigor to strengthen awareness on the importance of taking the complete dose to boost immunity against the disease. Despite negative publicity against the vaccination by apologists of the exercise, there is optimism that it will be a success. Pauline Kujivana now reports.
Even though there are myths on the COVID-19 vaccination, the ongoing awareness to counter that has paved way for acceptability by the people, as seen in the number of people who avail themselves for the second dose.
Just good for you. It's advisable you take both first and second dose. At least you get fully protected. Then once you do that, it's fine. I don't have any adverse effect and nothing. I'm fine.
When I took the first dose, there was no any adverse effect. I was fine. I was okay. I didn't see any symptoms. So I'm happy to take the second dose now and sensitizing people around me about the COVID disease, the virus and the vaccination.
It is believed that the second dose gives 98% protection against COVID-19. Hence, the moves by government to ensure that those who receive the first dose are vaccinated the second time.
We are able to vaccinate over 35,000 eligible people with this vaccine. Our initial challenge is online registration. So we've overcome that one, and we are sure that this time we can be able to successfully upload all the people that are vaccinated.
With COVID-19 non-pharmaceutical safety protocols being observed, in addition to public awareness, the number of cases have truncated with no threat of another wave of the pandemic.
So with 19, we don't have any new case. So because of some efforts that are put in place by the Borno State government in collaboration with partners that are working and supporting the state so far.
This development, if sustained, Borno State will be declared free from the virus as small batches of the much-needed vaccines are being expected to kickstart more phases of the exercise. In Maiduguri, Pauline Kujivana, NTA News.
A sigh of relief for critical health workers and other category of first line of COVID-19 vaccine beneficiaries who waited for their turns to receive the second dose of the vaccine. Interestingly, President Muhammadu Buhari was among the pace setters who took the complete dose of the COVID-19 vaccine, with the second dose administered on him yesterday. Although there is currently no visible threat of another wave of the coronavirus pandemic from the downward trend of new infections, imbibing culture of safety and hygiene remains paramount. How is Borno faring in terms of vaccine response, storage, distribution, and administration, especially with the insecurity? With me to discuss issues around the COVID-19 vaccine second dose rollout is the Permanent Secretary, Borno State Ministry of Health, Dr. Mohammed Aminu Guluzi. Sir, it's a pleasure to have you join us on Panorama this afternoon.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, sir. How was the success rate and the performance of the first dose of the COVID-19 vaccination here in Borno?
Thank you so much. Here in Borno State, the first dose of COVID-19 vaccination was very successful, having achieved 91% coverage of the targeted population. What this means is that 91% of the frontline and other health workers, including also the strategic leaders, have been vaccinated. They have received their first vaccines. And this has been attributable to the fact that a lot of effort has been put in place to sensitize and advocate for this vaccination. So we have achieved a huge success with 91% coverage.
Okay, that's great. Yes. Now tell us, what measures were put in place by relevant health agencies to save storage of the vaccines for the second dose administration?
Well, the state government, through the Ministry of Health and the State Primary Healthcare Development Agency, has put in place system of cold chain equipment at various levels. We have one at the headquarters here in the APD unit of the State Ministry of Health. Then we have 3 zonal cold stores, one at Mongono, Bama, and Biu, where we call the walk-in cold rooms. We also pre-positioned at ward levels what we call the ward health facility solar direct drive. And at each of these centers, that the vaccines are kept at the standard recommended by WHO for vaccines, not just the COVID-19 vaccines, but all our vaccines are potent and safe for utilization. So that is what we did to keep these vaccines for the second doses.
That's interesting indeed. Now, Doctor, what procedures are in place to ensure clinical and timely second dose vaccination as well as assurances of vaccine safety?
We have made a number of factors to ensure that compliance is met. We pre-positioned and trained health workers and with technical skills and technical know-how about the vaccines. And from these trained health workers, we constituted them into various teams which were sent to the local government areas. That is one. Number 2, we also sent vaccines to vaccine sites or vaccination sites. 3, we ensured that both hard copy and electronic copies of registers were kept. So we know who are to receive the vaccines for the second time. So those records are there. And then the third, during the first dose, we educated those who received the vaccine for the need to receive the second vaccine. So education was one of the methods used. And of course, also we educated them on the adverse events following immunization. What to report and where to report to. These are the measures we put in place to ensure that the second dose will be a huge success too.
Okay.
Yes.
That's great. Now, Permanent Secretary, Minister of Health, what measures are being taken to ensure sustenance of awareness on the non-pharmaceutical safety protocols for COVID-19 as we await more vaccine supply and prevent a resurgence of the unpredictable health challenge?
Okay, thank you so much for this question. Borno State Government, through the agencies, relevant agencies, have continued to step up the enlightenment campaign through various means, including the social and other media, but like the NTA and other very important means of dissemination of information. We also involve the public enlightenment, particularly where there is huge gatherings that are going on. So what we did to ensure that this compliance is achieved is we provided washing points, wash hand points in various places like the hospitals, offices, and public places with soap and water and other, particularly the liquid soap. And then hand sanitizers have also been distributed. We had mass distribution of masks to the public and hospital workers. So we have done a lot to ensure that these things are followed to the letter, particularly the social distances that have been talked about, that physical distancing, non-handshaking, wearing of masks in public places, and wherever you go, where there are people are, and so on. The hygiene ethic and so many other things that will ensure that you avoid contracting this disease is being stepped up. And so we are doing a lot to ensure this. There is still training of health workers on this, ongoing, and then the general public, there are a lot of sensitizations and campaigns going on.
Yes. This is actually a success story, Doctor. We truly appreciate you for being part of Panorama this afternoon, especially for talking to us on issues regarding the COVID-19 vaccine second dose rollout.
You're welcome.
Thank you once again, and do have a nice day.
Thank you so much.
That was the Permanent Secretary, Borno State Ministry of Health, Dr. Mohammed Aminu Guluzi. We are not done with issues concerning COVID-19 yet, as at the 29th of May 2021, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, has confirmed 31 new cases of COVID-19. According to the new figures released by the NCDC, Lagos has 15, Gombe 5, Akwa Ibom 3, while Kaduna and Kwara states have 2 cases each. This brings the total number of confirmed cases of COVID-19 in Nigeria to 1,66,285, discharged 156,554, and deaths stand at 2,071. Let's take a break now. Panorama returns shortly.
The vaccine offers hope for a safe country free of coronavirus. I urge all state governments, traditional and religious leaders to take the lead in the mobilization effort within their environment and spheres of influence. I similarly urge all eligible Nigerians to present themselves and be vaccinated in accordance with the order of priority already mapped out at the various authorized designated centers only.
Thanks for rejoining us on Panorama, and away from issues concerning COVID-19 now. Work on the Kaduna-Kano Standard Gauge rail line will commence in July this year. Minister of Transportation Rotimi Amechi disclosed this when he visited Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje at the Kano State Government House. Abdullahi Mustafa has more details.
The Transport Minister's visit to Kano was to assess the progress of work on the Kano Inland Dry Port project. Initiated nearly 2 decades ago, the project took off last year with the provision of basic infrastructure by Kano State Government. More than 2 billion naira was expended on the construction of access road, perimeter wall fencing, as well as electricity and water supply to the site. Mr. Rotimi Amechi, who expressed satisfaction with the pace of work, assured of federal government's commitment towards its timely completion and takeoff. During an interaction with Kano State government officials, Mr. Amechi told Governor Ganduje that work will commence on the Kano-Kaduna Standard Gauge Rail project in July this year.
Like you know, we are also linking Kano to Maradi, so you still have a problem. This will be like a hub for the train, for the railway sector.
Of course, Mr. President is making the Kano the actual commercial nerve center of northern part of this country and also some West African countries.
Governor Ganduje expressed optimism that the ongoing capital projects being undertaken by the federal government will further boost the economic fortunes of the country. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
You can get more news and updates on www.nta.ng or follow us on our Twitter handle at NTA News Now. You can also like us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/NTA Network News, and also stay connected and subscribe to our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/NTA News Online. Also remember to watch our news live streaming at www.nta.ng/live.
Of the students abducted by bandits in Greenfield University have regained freedom. Mohammed Umar Ajingi reports that they were released last Saturday evening by their abductors in a location near the university along Kaduna, Abuja. With hearts full of joy, the parents reunite with their children who have been in captivity since April 20th. Of the students were found dead few days after their abduction, while 2 others were found dead in a village near the university on the 25th of April. One of the students had earlier regained freedom. As the rainy season sets in, comes the issue of security, a major concern for the teeming farmers in returnee communities, towns and villages around conflict zones. This time around, farmers have been reassured of enhanced security as they engage in agricultural practice with the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Civilian Joint Task Force and hunters, among other formations, synergizing for patrols to ensure their safety. Yagum Subukar examines level of preparedness of the agro rangers ahead of this year's farming season.
Farming, which used to be the predominant occupation of the people of Borno, was brought to a halt due to activities of Boko Haram insurgents in most parts of central, northern and southern Borno. This development has no doubt brought serious setback to the socio-economic development of the state, a situation the people described as worrisome. With the relative peace being enjoyed in most parts of the state, farming activities are now gaining momentum with the support received from the NSCDC's agro rangers, complemented by other security agencies and civilian JTFs in securing lives and property of farmers while working on their farmlands.
Last year, we cultivate about 10,000 hectares of land, but this year we increased to 15,000 to 18,000 hectares of land, and across the 21 local governments where we work. And earlier, in the coming of His Excellency Professor Babagana Omar Zulum, it's only 5 hectares, and with the security situation, we added last year to 10,000.
Are you motivated? Motivated, sir.
Borno State Commandant of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Abdullahi Ibrahim, says the command is fully prepared to support farmers with physical security ahead of this year's farming.
We are looking at expansion in our manpower, where we see that we co-opt the civilian JTF to other aspects of logistics, such as vehicles. So as soon as those things are on ground, definitely we'll expand to those areas.
He further reveals that the command, in its quest to enhance, has introduced the use of modern technology into the activities of agro rangers by the use of drone, all in an effort to ensure food security and sufficiency this year's farming season in Borno State. The introduction of agro rangers by the federal government in 2019 has no doubt built more confidence in farmers, thereby making them return to farmlands in areas considered safe in Borno State.
In Maiduguri, Yagun Subukar, NTA News.
As part of the federal government's effort towards finding a lasting solution to the former herder clashes across the country, a 7-day training on pasture and fodder development in line with the Ruga Settlement Initiative took place in Maiduguri, the Borno State capital. The program, a pilot scheme of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, targeted 120 pastoralist communities in 2 local government areas of Borno. Nurjanat Hassan will now tell us more.
The training, which is in line with activities of Ruga, is an initiative of President Muhammadu Buhari's led administration under the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, with Borno, Katsina, and Niger as pilot states. Director, Federal Ministry of Agriculture in Borno, Bukar Musa, said the program is targeting training of pastoralists on how best to produce healthy animals, milk, and meat as well, by using modern ways of rearing animals.
We have targeted the farming families that have suffered loss of livestock and livelihood as a result of the insurgency.
Borno State Commissioner, Minister of Animals and Fisheries Development, Comrade Juliana Bitrus, commended President Muhammadu Buhari for supporting Borno to have grazing areas in Mafa, Askira, and Tamshikau in northern Borno.
By the time they are settled in the Ruga, we will know that it's going to be a community, and it is going to add value to Mafa town itself. Special Advisor to the Governor on Animal Resources and Coordinator Ruga Projects, Tijani Gwani Muhammad, commended the foresight of Professor Zulum and all stakeholders involved in the initiative, said the participants will be settled in Ruga communities after the training. According to him, they will be provided with social amenities, animals, veterinary clinics, as well as cash support. Chairman Mafa Local Government Council Abacha Kago assured to sustain the program. Some beneficiaries of the training lauded both the federal and state governments for providing them opportunities to boost their economic situation. Resource persons at the training dwells on importance of pasture in livestock production and pasture management in Maiduguri. Murjanatu Hassan, NTA News.
And just before we leave you, do remember to always stand with the Nigerian Television Authority against rape and rapists. Be a star in that regard.